The true biography of Felix Manalo is a good, written and created by your humble servant, Jerry Cahelon. Just call me Tatang JC. Thank you very much. Before I proceed, my very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen, and acquaintances, may you please don't forget to like, share my videos, and subscribe also to my YouTube channel so you can easily follow through on my next significant manifestations or testimonies. Thank you very much. Part 10 of the biography of Felix Manalo is a good. Recently, Sir Felix Manalo had preceded the so-called annual Thanksgiving or anniversary of his revolution against the Adventism. It was held on December 25, 1918, inside Gloria Theater within building number 1649, located along Sunday Street in Tondo, Manila. This anniversary or Thanksgiving was intended to honor and celebrate the 5th year of Sir Felix Y. Manalo preaching his crooked teachings and twisted doctrines since he bolted out from the doctrines of Adventism. Although this traditional Catholic Christmas was not the exact day he actually started preaching his own teachings and doctrines, nevertheless, he permanently set December 25 for his own celebrated event or annual Thanksgiving. Well, this was cunningly and obviously made to divert the attention of his cult society or church members and followers from the traditional spirit of Christmas. Along with the celebrated and blessed occasion in the cult church of Sir Felix Y. Manalo was his meritorious recognition and followed by the laying of hands on him by bishops and pastors from various Protestant sects in the country. These were the respectable and honorable Methodist pastors and bishops Alejandro Reyes of Bulacan, Victoriano Mariano of Laguna, Nicolas Fajardo, and Roque Bautista. Also, the pastors and bishops from the Presbyterian Church who were Gil Domingo of Imus in Cavite and Guillermo Zarco of Manila. Together with them was the Christian mission pastor and bishop Emiliano Quiano, who solemnized Sir Felix's last wedding. The significant rite was very important for Sir Felix Y. Manalo because it was required of him in order to be accepted in the studies of divinity or theology in a new and prestigious Protestant school in America. He must be an ordained pastor or minister in the Protestant rank before he can begin his studies in the Pacific School of Religion in Berkeley, California, and which is owned and managed by the wealthy Methodist Church in America. The school grant was obviously given to Sir Felix Y. Manalo in a form of charity work by Mr. Leslie Wolfe. Consequently, the laying of many hands by antagonistic pastors and bishops in teachings and beliefs on Sir Felix Y. Manalo arouses a big question and contemplation amongst the accomplices and allies of his own cult society or false church. The charity work headed by Mr. Leslie Wolfe, who is a disciple of the Christian mission, and in conjunction with the help and cooperation of Madame Honorata's parents, thus gave way for Sir Felix Y. Manalo in acquiring a piece of land to build his own chapel or house of worship. Together with this good tiding is his sponsored and prepaid journey and schooling to America. Sir Felix Y. Manalo and his co-church was compromised. Behind all this, however, comes the hidden motive of Mr. Leslie Wolfe and other leaders of Protestant sects on Sir Felix Y. Manalo. That is, of using him as a way or tool to pull out the burning hatred or anger of Filipino people to the foreign Protestants and American government. The cult Iglesia ni Cristo of Sir Felix is now well known for being highly invective to foreign Protestants and being loved for it by underground political movements fighting for a national independence from the American government. On the other side of all this, the charitable work and other travel deeds given to Sir Felix Y. Manalo made him to accept a secret deal or compromise with Mr. Leslie Wolfe. The charitable work, along with other deals with Mr. Leslie Wolfe, were absolutely made secret to Sir Felix's allies and followers, except to his truly trusted and devout administrative followers, the three disciples or fathers or elders. They were known at the time as the three personalities of the church, and namely, the executioner or Iron Fist in the person of Tatang Teodoro Santiago, who was the General Secretary, and the Godfather or right hand in the person of Tatang Justino Casanova, who was the head minister of the church, and the favorite or most obedient of all in the person of Tatang Federico Inocencio, who was the head deacon. The denunciations and defamations being made by Sir Felix Y. Manalo to the Protestant faith accordingly reinforces more the sentiments and voices of the Philippine nationalism and the underground movements in the quest for independence or self-government in the country, which, according to the American government, was not feasible at the time. In other words, the religious work of Sir Felix Y. Manalo is fueling the anger of our fellow countrymen to the Americans, as well as bolstering the desire for independence. Secondly, the cult church of Sir Felix is becoming more popular and acceptable to the Philippine society because of his ways of praying members using its inherent Philippine image as a purely Filipino-founded church. On the other side of all this, and of course, it's not really a secret to the heads of the Protestants, the hatred of Sir Felix Y. Manalo towards them. This hatred was purely out of disgust and jealousy of them for having greater financial capacity or having more money to spend for their religious work, such as spreading their teachings and acquiring more converts or members. In a real sense, the Protestants are competing with Sir Felix in his ways of converting Catholic listeners into the belief system. To Sir Felix, however, they were of a huge hindrance or blockade in praying the Catholics, which were the main targets for recruiting members into his cult and false church. The final outcome of all these things, eventually, were the secret agreements of Sir Felix Y. Manalo with Mr. Leslie Wolf, and such is cooling off the hatred or disgust of the Filipinos towards the foreign occupiers. Furthermore, it's for Sir Felix Y. Manalo to benefit financially from the heated political and religious situation in the country. He accepted the secret deal or offer from the Protestant adversaries to cool down his own religious work. In return, Sir Felix Y. Manalo and his trusted allies and accomplices will receive from his adversaries an undisclosed huge amount of money. This includes a prepaid travel and accommodations of a sponsored schooling in divinity for 2 years in America. Consequently, Sir Felix Y. Manalo will of course be temporarily gone out of sight in the country to help silence the protests for independence and cool down the burning anger of the Filipinos towards the Protestants and Americans. In short, and in other words, Sir Felix Y. Manalo, like Judas Iscariot, sold the cult Iglesia ni Cristo he established for some amount of silver pieces. One day in September of 1919, Sir Felix Y. Manalo boarded a ship heading to America. He stayed at the residence of a couple who were disciples of the Methodist Episcopal Church in Berkeley, California. He started receiving teachings from the Protestants at the Pacific School of Religion, and shortly after, about 2 weeks, he acquired a certificate for completing one of the subjects or topics in the course. He immediately thereafter discontinued entirely the remaining studies due to his serious call for lust and urge for lasciviousness. The proof of 2 years of schooling he brought back to the Philippines is just a simple certificate which certifies his study about God, or simply called Certificate of Divinity. However, many of our countrymen, and especially his own allies and followers, do not really understand much about this particular study at the time. So, to clarify for those who still don't understand much about this, the certificate Sir Felix Y. Manalo received was just one of the lowest levels or categories of studies about God or theology. The following categories are the Doctorate of Theology, being the highest level. Secondly, is the Master's degree in Theology. The third category is the Bachelor's degree in Theology. The fourth category is the Associate degree in Theology, and the lowest categories were supplemental courses of various studies about a particular topic only out of a whole subject matter for certification, or supplemental course of completion or certificate. One simple topic from the lowest category of studies about God is the Certificate of Divinity, which was completed and brought along by Sir Felix Y. Manalo with the certification in the Philippines. Obviously, there is no evidence on record of Sir Felix Y. Manalo's name and attendance among the graduates of the course in the Pacific School of Religion during the said period of time. And why? Well, he completed the course without even physically or personally present in every class session. Instead, he was at his place of residence in California doing the study through the mail, or known as correspondence schooling or distant education. Nevertheless, this schooling was only a tiny bit of knowledge added to his, or shall I say, almost nothing, even in comparison with personally reading the Bible for just a day at home. This is not really a high level of religious study, and therefore it's not something to be too proud of. However, Sir Felix Y. Manalo continued to receive monthly allowance or blessing from heaven or wage of 300 pesos from the administration of his own church in the Philippines, and while already enjoying the prepaid luxurious accommodations in America. The amount of money he is receiving was secretly spent to finance his personal lust for women and worldly vices abroad. Eventually, this corruption of him was later discovered and publicly revealed by his own allies. In the end, Sir Felix Y. Manalo was forced to go back earlier to the Philippines sometime during the middle of 1921, mainly because of a serious discord which aroused within his own cult and false Iglesia ni Cristo. And secondly, he was required to attend the upcoming court hearings of the libel or defamation case he filed against Tomasa Jeronimo and Basilia Santiago, the two witnesses of Madame Teresa Teodoro in their sexual escapade which bore him a child. To my very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen, and acquaintances, may you please stay tuned for the upcoming Part 11 of the Biography of Sir Felix Manalo Isagun in my next presentation on the Internet of the Cyber World. Again, to my very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen, and acquaintances, may you please don't forget to like, share my videos, and subscribe also to my YouTube channel so you can easily follow through on my next significant manifestations or testimonies. Thank you very much.